All right. Well, hello there, amazing people that are out there, beautiful beings of light that are participating in the conscious content of YouTube. Welcome to an episode of Buddhist Biohacker, and this is one of our monthly features, which I have just been loving, which is called Living in a New Reality with our special featured guest, Kristian Strang. Welcome back.
I love that we get to do this. And I love that we got to have a little sister chat this morning too, before launching in. There's so much to talk about. I feel like we've been doing this since May, and I feel like July to August, we've had the biggest shift that we've had since we started talking about living in the new reality.
I totally agree. And I am grateful for the talk too. So I'm sorry, you guys, that we were a little bit tardy coming on, but I think it was like, where are we at right now? And for those of you joining in the live, I can see you coming in. You can use the live chat. Please share your own comments, stories, questions, whatever you want to. Totally do it. And yeah, we've been doing this since May, living in the new reality. And I feel like living in the new reality has taken on a completely different context as of now. Like, I don't know if the new reality is the real reality, the old reality now real. Is it completely new and different? It's like, what the heck is it? I don't even know. And so that's my segue into all of it. I mean, what do you think? What's your thoughts today? You can kick it off, please.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
Well, when we were having our sister chat, it's like, where are we really? So much is being disclosed, and we're being able to see more and more that where we thought we were is not where we are. And what we thought was going on with different organizations and matrices and the cosmos is not what we thought. We are literally having to question everything, which can make us feel topsy-turvy, upside down. And part of the guidance that I just received in the past week that I was sharing with my group Rock the 2020 Great Awakening was that we're no longer even asking to know about our highest good. We need the highest timeline. There's so many multidimensional realities simultaneously taking place at one time. We've talked about this, like when you're tuning in psychically to what's happening, there's just so much going on, and there's been so much false information and so much programming and total lies about who people are and what they are and who we are. And so there's so much to unpack that the guidance from my team was the highest timeline is what we want to invoke fastidiously right now. Just like, what is the highest timeline? Allow me to live it. Show me what that is. Let me go to it. Because we're in this just mess right now of convergence of all these different false realities. So, I mean, you're nailing it when you say like, oh, the new reality, what is that even? Because we had an idea of what it was, and that's getting blown to shreds. Now we have to we got to go to the highest timeline. What did we really come here to do? Because I feel for me personally, Lisa, and I've talked to my husband about this, I know I did not come for some battle of good versus evil. Like, I'm so bored, like yawn, like, really? We came for this just to find out that like, there's just a bunch of evil craziness running the show. Like, that's what we came for. I know that I came for the greatest love story never told. I know it in the depths of my cells. So let's get on with that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the highest timeline is so good, that the highest potential. And I think the other thing that I think is important to recognize, and I love that Andrew Bartz has said this, it's an individual awakening. So I went to the collective with this. I said, what does all this mean? This individual awakening, like then there's the great awakening, and what does this all mean? And it ties into this highest potential timeline you're talking about, because what they said was, this is everyone's awakening. This is not one group finally being right, or one group of people or collective like waking up while everybody else was awake. This is every single person's awakening. And so all of us, no matter how woke you think you are going to awaken to new truths, to new realities. And within that, you're individually creating your own timeline. And it's interesting because my husband and I were just talking about that, because we're all on our own timeline. Because what I was saying to my husband was, oh, thank God we're on the same timeline. And what my husband said, which was so brilliant, was until we're not. And he said at one point, even if it's just in death, he goes, in you leaving your body, if you leave, you know, before I do, or vice versa, then you're now on your own timeline and we're no longer on that collective timeline. And so when you read all this stuff and you take in this information of, well, maybe it's going to feel like a death, and people are even saying, oh, well, a bunch of us might be completely leaving the planet. And I think it's less about that in a linear sense and more about the fact that if you step onto a collective timeline that is a different experience than a different collective on a timeline, right? Then you are, in fact, it will feel like a death, because you're not even going to see or be near that person anymore, because you're simply living a completely different reality than them. And within that, you're still creating your individual potential, your individual reality. And so what you're saying, Kristian, is so important, because I think you want to ask yourself, what is my highest potential timeline? And what that means is, you know, it goes deep into your soul purpose, but even that can change depending on your timeline. So for somebody like me, who my whole job, when I do an individual session with somebody, I'm looking at their soul purpose in their Akashic records. And what's happened is I've been opened now to new rooms. And what I'm seeing are there are multiple soul purposes based on multiple timelines, and it can get really confusing. And like you're saying, I was just listening to this podcast about, you know, all the different technologies that are out there to see timelines. And some of those aren't matching up with each other anymore, because everyone is creating these different timelines, and even bigger. And then I'll be quiet with my timeline tangent, but Lady Gaia, our planet, she is a brilliant creator of her own timeline, and she is attracting her own beings and her own stuff to give birth to her new self. So she's manifesting, you guys, and we are just a part of her also manifesting. So it's like getting with her and looking at her timeline and your timeline and looking at the highest potential for all these timelines. I mean, it can get confusing as far as like, where is your new reality? Because all of us are living completely different experiences right now.
I love everything that you said, because that's how I discovered this, is that we were asking what serves the highest good. We've been asking what serves the highest good in my one-on-one practice and for the group collective when we do group events. And what I was shown is that what serves the highest good for the timeline you're on is not necessarily your highest potentiality. It's only for that highest timeline. So we've got to go higher. We've got to actually say, wait a second. If what I'm living right now is not fully satisfying to me in every way, and I think we can all agree, at least for what's happening collectively, this is not fully satisfying, we've got to go higher. And there has been this death process that you talk about, Lisa. I've had myself since 2016, and I know many of my clients that I work with have these moments where you feel like you're dying. And I don't necessarily mean physically, although that may be the case, but that emotionally you feel this death is happening. And since 2016, I remember being on the beach and I was like, oh, I'm going to make my transition. It's time, I'm going. And what I was shown is that it was a whole identity, a whole timeline that I had been living that was dying. And that's what I was feeling. So we are literally stripping the layers away of who we thought we were, and the buildup of timelines and the buildup of personality and stories of identity of who we thought we were. And all of that is being stripped away so that who we truly are, which I believe is divine incarnate, can be revealed, and then our creator timeline can be lived, right? Because a lot of what we've been living has been a response to the controlling matrix and the programmed matrix and the dysfunctional matrix that we've been in. So as we strip away these lower timelines, we become our highest expression. And now what are we doing? And like you said, we're we need to work with Mother Earth. We need to work with the divine. It's the complete, the wholeness. That was a new piece for me that I got, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, was that, the earth is a spirit too. And she has her own timeline and her own desires and her own process that she's in. We're just a baby bit of this. There was so much of like, we've got to save the earth. And my team kept saying, oh, she's going to be fine. You guys might not be, but she's going to be fine. So really remembering that it's all partnership, but it starts with partnership with who we really are, our highest timeline, our divine self, and the earth. And that's really what matters the most over anything in the information that I'm getting. I know there's a lot of teachers that talk about, we've got to all do this together, and we're dependent on each other. And I think that's true in some ways, but we have to do this individual work and this individual alignment to join with the collective we want to be a part of, right? So exactly. I don't want to be a part of the third dimensional collective. I don't want to be a part of the fourth dimensional collective. I'm not interested, in that at all. But in order to get there to the higher realms, I have to be vibrating there, right? So that's where the individual piece comes in, right?
Yep, for sure. And I think, with the collective, it said that's in alignment with that too, is it's an individual awakening, but it's a collective ascension cycle. So we are in an ascension cycle on the planet that is collective. And so that's why there seems to be this collective awakening, but at the same time, it's the individuals that are waking up. It's just a lot of people happening at once because we're in an ascension cycle. And if you look back in history, whatever history even is of our planet, I don't even know anymore. But if you look back at the timelines that we know, you can see where those collective ascension cycles have occurred in the past. And you can understand how that's happening now. And so now we're in this collective ascension cycle, but it's still an individual awakening. And I have a great story to tell, because this is like what's happening right now. This is what's happening. So we have, and I'm looking outside because it's like right here. So there's a main road right outside my neighborhood here. And this main road is a parkway. Okay, but it's really just been a 2-lane back and forth street for like a really long time. And so they decided to start building it to become a parkway, which is actually two lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other way. So what happened actually right before this quarantine started in March, my husband called me and he goes, I'm driving on the road from our house, but I'm totally not driving on the road from our house. And he's like, this is really weird. He's like, I feel really weird. What had happened was overnight, so they had been building this other road that would be like a one-way. And so we were driving on the little 2-lane road. And what happened was overnight, they opened the other road and you had to drive on the other road because they're going to now work on this road. And this other road goes like a completely different way. So you're like literally leaving the house, and how you've driven every single day for a few years now that we've lived here, suddenly you're driving on a completely different road with completely different scenery. It's completely different. And it was trippy. Like, driving the kids to school, even the kids were like, this is trippy. Like, you were driving to school and it's like literally it was completely different overnight. And I think that is exactly what we're going through right now. Is like, I don't know about you, but I've gone to like a food store and I'm like, well, where did these signs come from? And where did this come? Like, I was just here like 4 or 5 days ago, and like now there's stickers on the floor and there's signs about the money and like all this weird stuff. It's like an unreal, you're not connected to that reality anymore. It's like totally not your existence.
That's right. Thank you for sharing that story, because it is, I had an interesting similar experience, of course, and you're going this different way and it feels so weird, like you're doing something wrong or something's off. And so what is happening? We're the third dimensional and fourth dimensional world. What I was shown is dying off. And my team kept saying to me, and I think we might have even talked about this in May, you got to just let it burn. And I was like, I can't let it burn. I want to, help support people, and, we can change this, we can make it different. And I repeatedly get the guidance, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this too, Lisa. I repeatedly get the guidance to just let them do their crazy thing. Let them, just let it happen. That's not the reality I want to be in. So I don't need to, because what happens when we start fighting things, or we are protesting, or whatever it is, we then now psychically entangle with that energy. And so now we've formed a connection with that energy, and now we're going to be vibrating in a similar way. So we want to be really mindful about what we're connecting to and what we're, showing up for, really. Because I've repeatedly received the guidance that we are to just let this happen. This happens to on all planes of consciousness when they're ascending, is what my team told me. And you were talking about that. It's like, this is part of the natural ascension process. We've been through this other times before. This is just the deal. And our job is to show up for it as the embodiment of the divine in a physical body. And that's really where our work is, not in trying to get the third and fourth dimensional humans to realize they're totally off track. That's for them to awaken to.
Yep, I totally agree. And, within that too, there is this idea, or this truth, universal truth about, by engaging in it, you're creating contracts, and so you have to be careful about what you're engaging with. It's part of why I don't vote. Because you don't want to
contract.
Yeah. And so I want to be careful, because I think if you feel passionate about that, it's part of the human experience. So I don't want to say one way or the other. I'm just saying, for me as a channel, I don't participate, because I don't want to create entanglements and contracts with that. The other thing I got to download, like while you're talking about this, it just like plopped in my head, is that there is a facade of control of the planet, and that ultimately you can't control the planet. So even if these energies think they're in control, they're actually not, because you can't control this living divine being who is creating her own reality. And I got the coolest download in a transmission last week that I actually made another note about it yesterday in my notepad for some reason. And I don't even remember what I was doing, but I made another note that I need to look at this some more. But I had gotten tangled up in saving the animals. We want to save all these animals, and they're leaving, and it's devastating, it's changing. Well, I got this download when you're talking about just let it go. The information I got was there's a whole new set of species coming, and some of them are already here and we just haven't seen them yet, but that there's new species coming. It's part of evolution. And so if there are animals and beings that are dying off, there are new ones that are coming in, these new species. And so don't underestimate the power of Mother Nature and what she's able to do and what she's able to create. That's part of why we're here, because it's so fabulous to create here. It's also why there's negative energies here. So there's both coming to create on this incredible planet, but you can't control that either. And so I agree with you. It's kind of like you have to let it go, and you have to be in your own reality. And we have a comment here, a few different comments. So Lindsay said, yes, let's go even higher. Infinite possibilities does not mean we have to choose what is being presented to us. Yes.
Sister. Yes.
Yeah. Our highest timeline is what we came for. Thank you. You're saying it. And she said, you're answering my questions now. I've got to go let it burn. And she has a big son. Thank you for sharing. And you guys can keep your comments and questions coming, because we love it. But anyways.
Yeah, I love that. And we're becoming a new species. Now, those that are trying to control humanity would say, yeah, you're becoming an AI programmed robotic species, but we're actually becoming the divine humans. And this was, given to lots of light workers. And I know we started talking about it about 6 months ago, you actually came to become a divine human in form. And we've seen examples of that, Mary Magdalene, Buddha, Jesus, we've seen different examples of this throughout time, Mother Mary. However, it's now time for more of us than ever to embody that divine humanness and live in the frequency of our highest timeline. That's really what the new reality is, and what the new earth is, and what the golden age is. It's all stepping into our highest timeline. The seductive part is there's just so much being disclosed right now, and so much shit going on. It's hard not to go, oh my, look at that thing, and look at that thing. I've had moments where I'm just like astounded by what's happening. Like, are you kidding me? Like just
Yeah.
what? And then you got to come back to my divine self.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of have to look at it and then kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to do some checks with myself of like, okay, like I've looked and it's so easy to like get caught up in all those stories. But there's truth and faults to all those stories. So you really have to step back and honestly, you guys, you got to use your clairvoyance. You have to do it, like develop your clairvoyance. Deborah Lynn Katz was on the show last week. She wrote a great book, You Are Psychic. Kristian, I'm sure you have some development tools on your side. I've got a course that's coming out that's like a fire hose of psychic development. It's actually coming out hopefully like in the next couple of days. So you are psychic. Everyone is psychic. Don't let anybody tell you you're not. And you have the ability to use your intuition, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairgustance, your clairsentience, your knowing, your empathic. Jennifer Huff was on yesterday talking about we have 75 trillion cells. So everyone is empathic because 75 trillion cells are feeling this planet that we're on. So the point of that is when you're looking at truthers, when you're looking at all of this information, when you're looking at these theories, go sit with it. Don't be afraid to look at it and really be as neutral as possible. I got a call this morning from a dear colleague and client of mine. She's awesome. And she's like, oh my God, I got my own information. And this is what I saw. And it was dead on the money. And she said, I got out of my own way. She goes, I knew, this is what she said to me. And it was awesome. She's like, I knew that I was in my own way because of what I was programmed with. And I got out of my way and she got the information. So I cannot stress it enough. Go check it. Don't be afraid to fact check it with yourself because you're not going to fact check it on the internet because there's too much distorted information out there. I think that's the best word for it. It's distorted. So is there truth and full disclosure? Yes. There's full disclosure. It's easy to find. It's all out there. But you also have to sit with, there's a whole lot of stuff that tangles you up and takes you in different places. So just use your gifts and talents that are given to you, those 6 senses, to find your information and to trust what you think is real. Yeah, it still blows your mind.
Absolutely. And I actually encourage folks, go to your heart, like your heart center knows, and you ask your heart to show you a yes, ask your heart to show you a no. And then I encourage my folks, take everything that comes through that you're like, oh, I don't know, take it through your heart. Your heart will tell you, your heart field, which is a great intuitive tool, right? Will let you know if this is on point for you or it's not. And we're having to what is science? What are facts? What is medicine? All of that we've been programmed with is not true. History, all the stuff we've been told about history is like a complete farce. I mean, it's amazing. When you get to that, higher perspective, it's incredible. First of all, it's incredible that humans can be programmed with so much information and that a whole system of education has been used to program humans. And then third, that we can wake up from that and that we no longer are looking to read the history books or read the scientific papers. We're actually now taking it through our own channel and our own wisdom, because that is where it's at. And, there have been women doing what we're doing, Lisa. We've been those women in multiple lifetimes throughout history, shining the light, bringing in divine wisdom, supporting others in their divinity so their own gifts can awaken more and more. And so that's really like where you want to go. The wise women and men on the earth plane who've been doing this throughout lifetimes can support you as you continue to expand and remember who you are. And I know for me, Lisa, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this too, like having that confirmation from your wise women of like your client calling you today, being like, you are totally on point. Good job, sister. Keep going. We encourage each other. We support each other. That's the way that we're meant to live, is knowing that we're all divinely gifted. I was just talking about this morning, so I love that you brought this in, because I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder when I was a young child, and this happens all the time. And then we'll give you medication so you can't access your gifts and that your pineal gland gets blocked. And And so you don't have anxiety and you don't have depression. You're gifted. You actually have a superpower. You're actually superpowered, psychic, and gifted human, and you're trying to awaken in an insane matrix that you've incarnated into because you wanted to have this experience of busting out. So, it's like everything that we're given about disorders and what's wrong with us is all bogus, and that's exciting to wake up from.
Yeah, I agree. And that gives me gives me goosebumps because there's a lot that has been done to dim the light. So just shine that light. Like I made a post, I think it was last month, and it said, I'm just going to shine my freaking light. And that is the truth. Like, just shine it, because that is going to blast through all the garbage. It just is. And the more you blast through it, the more you're like, whoa, we are divine beings of God source, period. That is what we are. We are part of a collective consciousness that is this planet and beyond. And it's just time to own it. It's time to own that within yourself. And you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't own it, so just pull off all the garbage and just be in your divine self, shine your light.
And ask to be shown the channels to shine it on, right? Because what's really cool about this time too is that, Google and Facebook really dominated the social media, platforms, but now there's all these other amazing channels. So you don't have to go through the usual suspects. You can find, ask your heart and your divine wisdom. What are the portals with which I'm meant to shine my light? And then start shining it. And it doesn't matter if 2 people see it or 2,000 people see it. Also knowing that the numbers are totally manipulated. So I've been brought more information about that, Lisa. And I know you have a lot on this as well. Like, literally, folks that are supporting the agenda that the mainstream wants, they are being given all these numbers and able to see more people. And then folks that are not supporting the agenda are being repressed. And that's been happening the whole time. I had a mentor tell me this like 5 years ago. And I was like, oh, you're being paranoid, and then my team, showed me literally, like, they put up front what they want folks to see, and they'll diminish things they don't want folks to see. So don't even pay attention to that. It doesn't even matter. Just keep going every single day. How can I shine my light? What are the channels that I need to shine my light on? Lisa's created this beautiful way of bringing through conscious content and new media, which is so important for us. Find those ways that you can shine your light and just keep shining it. Don't stop, because at the end of the day, when we are, back in non-physical energy, we're going to want to know that we showed up with integrity and that we did everything we could to become the embodiment of the divine in our physical form and shine that light without allowing ourselves to be fearful, or also like, what's the point? Because, they're diminishing the light or whatever the story is. It doesn't matter. It's about you doing right by you and your soul, which then connects you to all the other divine souls, which then allows us to have a more radical impact than we could ever have, if we just stayed quiet and never shared who we really were.
Agreed. And this is the time that all of us are coming together. I've said this on 6 different podcasts this week, because I've been live every minute of my day. But the collective has said the hermited healer has ended. That timeline is done, gone. We are not little hermits in our little, I love the hermit card from the tarot. So I do love that whole concept, but we are not alone. And in fact, we are not the minority either. We are the majority. And now that we're all connecting with each other, it's like, wow, it's like the biggest party ever. In fact, I'm going to make a post about that. I'm writing that down right now. Because it totally is. It's like a huge party.
And I really feel that we do twice weekly remote group meditations to, build our telepathic communication and our psychic abilities. And we literally will see all of us together, around the earth. And I always see us dancing and celebrating and singing. And that's happening on the astral plane, or also, on a non-physical level. And we just need to keep bringing it to our day-to-day reality. And I really want to invite anyone who, is resonating with what we're saying to really just step into daily spiritual practice. That is just I want to say savior, but that has a lot of connotations to it, but that is really where the juice is, daily meditation. Get into a community where you can meditate and do events in community, because now you're expanding the band of light. You're expanding and accelerating, your reach and your impact in a positive way for your own soul and for the collective, right? But that daily spiritual practice is so important. When I'm thinking about my younger self who got that diagnosis, and just, the young women that I work with who get these, bizarro diagnoses, it really is like, just sit in meditation every day, have a spiritual mentor to help support you, in understanding your gifts, but just keep doing that. It's not in a pill. It's not in a pharmaceutical sense. The earth has given us everything we need. We have each other. I mean, there's just so much that we've been set up for success. We just got confused about that.
Yep. Agreed. And yeah, just if it's not natural, it's not natural. And that's the way to look at it. That's probably the safe way to say it. And because I've been there, it's in my book. Like I was really sick with parasites that were destroying my system. I had 3 different species in my body at the same time. And the prescription was a anxiety medication. And I took one look at that doctor, and this is no joke. I mean, luckily I trust my own self, but I took one look at that doctor and I said, I am not crazy. And I am not okay with how you've decided to handle this. And I walked out that door. And I wrote a letter when I got all of the information about what really in the data. I wrote a letter to that doctor and I told them exactly what was wrong with me and exactly how it needed to be treated. And he actually called me and apologized. And that was a pretty huge deal, because he acknowledged, that particular doctor was willing to acknowledge, what he didn't know. And hopefully it changed something in his own timeline by knowing that information. So I want to be careful, because we don't want to be in trouble. But I will just say, don't be afraid to ask yourself your own truth and stand in your own truth and stand in that and allow that, because your truth is you're going to question your own truth so much between now and December 17th. You're going to be like, WTF today and WTF today and holy shit, what's that about today? It's going to get cray cray. And I don't know about you. I don't want to get too crazy with predictions, but I do see things this month and next month. I definitely think there is raised energy, and what we do impacts that. So let's make those raised energy us hijacking our own timelines and creating the new reality, and not something else that could occur.
I love that. Let's hijack our own timelines.
That's another post. That's actually a really good t-shirt. I'm writing this down.
Yeah, please make that into a t-shirt. I will wear that every day. Hijack your own timelines, people. So yeah, they're going to be throwing all kinds of stuff at us. And by they, I mean the negative agenda. This is the plan. Don't get too caught up in that. It doesn't really matter. We don't have to be pissed at them. They're just doing what they came to do also. Yeah. So our job is to take it higher. So when I saw the explosions and the fires, and I was just like, oh my God, they said, let it burn. And it's burning everywhere right now. But I didn't get caught up in what's the death count? What's the da-da-da-da? I immediately went to prayer, and I put an APB out to all my community, to all my people everywhere. Let's start praying. Let's start meditating for our brothers and sisters. Let's start calling on the highest timeline for them. May their bodies be free. May their faces be free. If we want people free, may all beings be free. And so the minute these things come in, because there will be more events, and I do see, I'm surprised it happened this week, what we saw over the last 48 hours. I thought that was going to be more in September. So I was like, oh, well, I guess we moved that up. Mm-hmm. So there will be more things happening. And our job is to take it to the light and take it to the highest timeline, and to do everything that we can to bring in light to the earth plane when all the shit is going down. And what's interesting is that you don't need to get on the bandwagon of whatever the mainstream is doing. Now, incidentally, the mainstream did nothing about the recent events that happened this week. And I I was really curious about that. And I asked my team about it, and they said, well, it doesn't support the narrative that they're wanting running right now. So they're not going to give, too much play there. Our job is to take everything and take it to the highest timeline. So I love that, Lisa. Let's hijack our own timelines, because we've had our timelines hijacked by the negative agenda, but that's because we let it happen, because we were just like, okay, yeah, no, this is how it is. You're looking out for my best interest. No, they're not. And they've told us that in a million different ways, and movies and TV shows. It's all over the media, the plan to do all this.
Yeah.
I just saw yesterday, my team brought me this Simpsons episode, which I've never watched, Simpsons, that literally lays out exactly what's been happening. Like, they have to tell us that's the deal, because then they form an agreement. Oh, we told the humans, they thought it was funny, so now we're doing it. So we can now take our power back and hijack our own timelines. I love that. Yes. That's brilliant. And that's our work as light workers. That's our work.
Yeah, I agree. And, we've got so many comments over here, so I want to look at what we've got going on, but I also want to say, like, for me, definitely August 8th through the 14th, definitely September 9th through the 15th. We have an incredibly talented, incredible Vedic astrologer named Gilbert, who's going to be on, I think, next Friday. I think it's next Friday. It's either next Friday or the following Friday, but he's actually going to give us the astrological view of what's upcoming, so that we really know what to expect, dates and things. But those are definitely power dates. And my support, I have a free global meditation this Saturday on 8/8. It is a power day. It's the Lion's Gate. It's a Stargate. It's all this power energy. And that is at 11:11 a.m. on Saturday. And you guys can register for that on the Ajatakasha website. There's links on both Lisa M. Gunshore and Ajatakasha, and we'll put that in the show notes too. And we're going to go over some stuff, because we have a bunch of people's questions. I promise I'm getting to your stuff, because you guys are raging on over here. I love it. That's, my support this week is really about that 8/8 and being able, we're going to do grid work, but I was actually given an assignment by the collective of the Golden Ankh, which is the team that I work with, which is really great energy and stuff, but they're also Egyptian energy. So there's a big thing with 8/8, but one of the assignments that they've given us is to transform and take back the number 13 and the symbol of the crow this Saturday. So there's some kind of energy with that. And honestly, I'll pull the transmission in on Saturday, but I can tell you that the crow and the number 13 is something we're working with on Saturday. So we're going to go on to the grid, but we're also going to be taking those symbols back. And there's more of that to come, because we're taking back these symbols that have been hijacked from us. Now, Lindsay says, make sure I get connected to your groups. I just asked for this in the shower and your Zoom popped up. Yes, hey, I love that.
Good manifestation, girl.
Yes, Claire said, feeling swept up in recent things happening in regard to trafficking today. I feel like that is not my place. I started a group and have been posting about the subject and even started planning an event. That's awesome, Claire. You should share your information in this chat. She said, I need to get clear in my role in this and my calling and not sure how to do it. So we can talk about that too. And Eve says, oh my God, share which Simpsons episode, please. So do you want to share the Simpsons episode? And then I think let's talk about how to get clear about your role and your calling. And don't worry, we'll share all of our information here at the end of what's upcoming. Because even the documentary, Christian's in it. Carolina, who was on earlier, is in it. I am releasing it August 28th. I am releasing it on YouTube, and it is all about awakenings, and we are going to have nothing else to watch, because everyone on this planet is going to know not to watch the other stuff without getting ourselves in trouble. So anyways, share the episode, and then we'll talk about getting clear on your role. You guys are raging. I love it. I don't know
the exact episode, but Eve, if you go to my Instagram at Rising Up for Love, I've got it in my stories, and just DM me if you can't get it, and I'll send you the direct link. It's shocking, beyond shocking. And also, I'm doing an 8/8 global meditation remote as well. And mine's at 8:08 p.m. Pacific, so you can do both of ours and really cover the spectrum. And you can get access to that by going to my MeWe. Go to MeWe Sacred Spirituality Group, or DM me or whatever, we'll get you to it. But we're going to do it at 8:08, and our focus will be on opening to our divinity. And so I love what you said, Lisa, about the crows, because the crows have been talking to me like so much since in the past week. They are just going off, and I'm like, okay, guys, what do you want me to know? I mean, they are heralding this transformation. So I love that, taking the power back, because there has been like negative programming around that, and it's nonsense.
Yeah, it's so true. Like I don't even know what to say about it, but and for Claire, for being swept up in all the trafficking, here's the deal. We can only hope that that's all about to reveal. But we also can't be disappointed if it's not. What you need to know is it's been revealed to you. You know the truth. And there are some people who have known it for years and years and years, and you can get caught up in the negative energy of feeling like you cannot do anything about it. And instead, stay focused on the celebration that you know the truth and begin to do the work around it. And what I can tell you is I've had dreams since I was a little kid about what was happening. Very vivid, clear dreams that up until about a month ago, I thought that it was something dark about myself that I was having these dreams. And I've had my own awakening, realizing that I was dreaming about these events because I was seeing something that was happening. And now that I've seen it, those dreams have actually ceased, which is really nice. But there's still a lot of work to be done to support the rainbow children who are coming into the planet. And so it's very complicated because those beings have contracts coming into that energy, right? There's contracts and there's all this stuff going on. But I can tell you that I did have a pretty profound vision, and I saw the red matrix grid around the planet, and the lights are going out. They're going out, and eventually it will all go out. And that's what we're in. So keep doing your work, because Claire, what you're talking about, you've started a group, you're starting to share information. Like, that's the indigo. Like this eye back here, this indigo is the throat chakra. It's the communication of the truth. And don't be afraid to share it. And there are ways to do it in the light so that you can share it without having that muted, right? So it's important to do that. So
absolutely. And Claire, I would encourage you to just ask in meditation and prayer, show me my highest timeline for doing this work and supporting the children. It was shown to me probably about 10 years ago that I've been working with children in orphanages on the astral plane since I was a small child myself. I didn't know why. Of course, as the child trafficking has come to light more and more, it's like, oh, we all knew at a deeper level this was happening to children. And so we have been helping, a lot of light workers have been helping them in the astral plane in all these different ways. So I would encourage you, Claire, to ask for your highest timeline assignment for supporting these children, and know that some of that work may happen in the astral realm and in your dream time, in your sleep time, when you're living those other realities, and you can support them in a different way. Keep with the group, keep showing up. Whether it's 1 or 1,000, doesn't matter. The impact that you have is profound. The other piece that my team consistently tells us is that we're having such a greater impact than we realize, because of the control of the matrix, you don't understand how many people you're actually affecting. But when you're working with even one person and you're supporting their awakening and their shifting, that's their family line, their ancestry that's being impacted. That's all the people they know and the people they know and the people they know. We got caught up in an artificial world that says, we're going to show you how many followers you have, and we're going to show you how many likes you have, but they're controlling what you see on that. So you've got to break free of that and know that every single thing that you're doing to support your highest timeline is having a ripple effect into the billions beyond what you can imagine. So keep going for sure, and know that, like, every single one of us who is asking, how can I be of service and how can I live my highest timeline? Like, the impact of that is so radical and powerful for us and for those that we serve. So I love hearing those comments. Thank you, ladies.
Me too. And Claire is saying, like, that's what she's worried about, is staying in the light because their rage has been activated. And so what I want to say to all of you guys about that, and to you, Claire, is this is the 62nd episode in 90 days of Buddhist Biohacker. I was told by the collective to create this platform for exactly what you're talking about. If you are feeling those feelings, watch Buddhist Biohacker, watch these episodes, because it's resources of light. It's going to help you manage through your shadow. It's going to help you understand what you're going through. It's going to give you positive momentum in your life to help you to break free from that. The other thing I want to say is that rage is part of the goal. Okay. Part of the goal is it's about polarization. There's positive polarity, there's negative polarity. Now, there's integrated polarity too of the two, okay? And that's ultimately the balance that we want to achieve, right? Is the integration of the two. But every moment of every day, you have a choice to be positively polarized or negatively polarized. And when you feel those destructive emotions, right? In Buddhism, it's called destructive emotions: anger, sadness, depression, fear, grief, whatever that is, right? When you feel those destructive emotions, that creates separation, it creates division, and it creates negative polarization. Positive polarization is forgiveness, acceptance, love, unconditional and equal love. And I'm not saying you can just go off and love these people who are doing this. It's not very easy, but you can go into a space of love for the children. You can go into a space of love for those that really need it, and align with the positive polarization of love. So the ultimate is the forgiveness and the acceptance and the love of even the negative. And it's not easy, but I'll be honest, I've done it. Like I've really been able to sit in that space where I understand the bigger picture here, and I see and I trust in the divine. I trust in whatever this process is that we're in, even when I get scared and overwhelmed too. I do that too, but I trust in it. And I've come to a place where I understand that there's wounded and there's wounders, and that we're all in this together, and their behavior affects my behavior. So I know it's not easy, and I know that's probably not the best advice or best way to handle it, but just stay positively polarized. And it's every moment right now. What you choose to eat, what you choose to drink, what you choose to say, what you choose to post on social media, what you choose to comment on, what you choose to watch, what you choose to wear, what you choose to think. It's all about your polarity. Is it positive or is it negative? And you're going to flip-flop between the two. But when you find yourself in that negatively polarized space, go back to love. What can you love? Go put your feet on the earth. Love the planet. Love yourself. Love your partner, love your children, love whatever it is. Hug a tree, but get in love and pull yourself out of rage, because the rage doesn't serve us, it serves them. And that is what they want, is the rage and the fear and the grief so get into a space of love. Just get there.
I have a toolkit of psychic tools, and I definitely recommend having psychic tools, and it's called Activate Your Highly Sensitive Superpowers. But Claire, it supports you in dealing with that rage. A lot of the rage that we feel when we connect to that information is rage that we're taking on, like Lisa is saying, from them. So you're actually absorbing the rage and the fury that is encased in that whole destructive, disgusting system. So we want to use psychic tools to clear that rage, so we're not taking that on. And then what is ours, we need to feel and process, but not express, right? So humans have we have this programming to externally project everything that we feel. We're like, oh, I'm pissed, so I'm going to throw things or scream or whatever. Or hurt other people. What we actually want to do is let that rage serve us by fully feeling it through the body, allowing it to then dissolve, because where we get messed up is we stuff the feelings. We take on feelings that aren't ours, then we stuff them, and then that produces disease in the body, right? So we want to work with our emotions in a really clean way. And these are important. I say psychic tools and it's like, wait, what? Yeah, working with your emotions is important to your ability to be clear, to receive guidance and direction and information. So get some great psychic tools so that you can work with this in, like what Lisa is saying, in a positive way. I always ask when I see the drama or I feel the pain, how can I be part of the solution to this? If I'm really getting activated by something that's happening, well, then that must mean I need to be part of the solution. So how do I become part of the solution? God, show me the way, source, show me the way, whatever terminology works for you. Show me the way, show me the next step so that I can be part of the solution. And where the third dimension and the fourth dimension, or the third dimension gets hung up on just being fucking pissed about it and destroying things. The fourth dimension gets hung up on fighting it. You know, we're going to social justice the heck out of this. Doesn't get us anywhere. We've got to take it higher. And so that would be like what Lisa and I are talking about right now. Your rage is letting you know this is important to you to move it forward, but let's clear what's not yours first. And that's really, really important. One of my early teachers taught me this. The first thing you ask when you have an intense emotion is this even mine? And then make sure you have psychic tools to be able to clear that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, exactly. Like, and most of the time it's not yours, actually. And it's about, understanding where it's coming from. And the dissolve thing is really important. Like you love the destruction until it melts away. If you fight it and you push it off, again, there's that division piece. You're not unifying internally, and that unification inside creates the outside unification. And we're years and years and years and years and years away from that, but we are in an ascension cycle that is going to help a very majority group of us get to that next space, and you want to have these tools in place before, I don't know, Saturday, probably.
Literally, I'm high-fiving you.
Right?
Telling people, like, if you need to move, you need to do it now. If you need to go anywhere or do anything, do it now, because what's coming is not, we can't. So get the tools now, get the community, meditate with us on Saturday, get things in place, because it's only going to get bumpier from here. And this is where our mastery is coming in, and we can do this. It's not going to be the walk in the park we'd all love it to be, but we can do this. And we have conversations like this and Buddhist Biohacker and sacred spirituality and all these tools so that we can do this and do it with more peace and flow than what those in the third and fourth dimension are experiencing.
Yeah, I agree. Because really between now and Thanksgiving really is like the biggest bubble of stuff. And I don't know that anyone can really say what that looks like, because the timelines, there's like 30 or more different timelines with probable outcomes really happening. So the most important thing is to connect with the tools and the communities, like Kristian's saying, because you want to be on that bus through this journey, because it is going to be turbulent. Like, this is a turbulent time. And for many of you who are watching this, who are awakened to the truth, and again, this is not the theory truth. This is not the truth or truth. This is a different truth. This is spiritual truth. This is universal laws, universal truth. Beyond our planet in galaxy, it's so much bigger. But if you're awakened to those truths and to that energy, then this ride is going to be smoother, because you're going to be able to handle what's coming, because there's a lot of it you're already going to know and see, truly. And somebody wrote before Saturday, ha ha ha. Yeah, for sure, Z's. So really between now and Thanksgiving is my sense. And actually I've had some really great visions of a lot of just open flow going into 2021, and possibly not even having to have these experiences of isolation that we're having right now again. So it's big all at once. And that could mean a lot of different things. So don't get caught up on what it is, because that's really easy to do. Trust me, I'm a psychic. I've looked and I'm like, holy cow, this or this or this or this or this or this or this. Just know that you need to be safe. You need to have a home where you're safe. You need to have what you need in case there's a quarantine. Just be ready. Just be ready and have your tools, and refine your spiritual practices: meditation, contemplation, self-inquiry, and journaling. meditation, contemplation, self-inquiry, and journaling. Yoga, yoga, yoga. Like, refine your practices, have space at home to do those practices. And I think what I want to do, Kristian, gosh, time like flies, like while we're talking, Jesus. Clearly we could talk about this more, and maybe we will over the next few weeks. Kristian and I we can talk about that offline, but like, you know, this kind of support may be really needed as things unfold here. So we'll keep you guys up to date. But I think what I'd like to do is, Kristian, if you want to share all the support that you have right now available so that everyone knows, and then I can do the same thing, and just let you guys know what's out there. Obviously, Buddhist Biohacker is here. So as long as you have internet and YouTube, you can go to Buddhist Biohacker and learn, you know, watch these resources, watch these tools, you know, engage in the energy of the light. We have almost 50 shows between now and Christmas scheduled right now, you guys, panels and group discussions and individual interviews. So more and more resources are going to come to you. So you have this as an accessible, free resource. Go ahead, Kristian, share your stuff.
Yeah, if you go to sacred-spirituality.org, you'll find all the ways to connect with me. Instagram, MeWe. I just got on Telegram under Sacred Spirituality 11 if you want to check me out there. But if you go to my site, you'll see everything that you need. We do have a community, an online community specifically created for getting us through the end of this year and thriving and rocking it, as I like to say. So we do have a community for that, and we do have a backup plan, as it were, if internet and power goes out. So we'll be able to stay in communication telepathically and otherwise. So I definitely recommend, if you're feeling called to a spiritual community, check us out, see what feels good to you. It'll allow you to stay connected, even from your home, even from, you know, lockdown, depending. We've got folks all over the world. So some of our folks are in Australia, where they're being really crazy with their lockdown stuff. So we've got folks all over, and we're supporting them through that and giving them tools. But all my tools are on the website. The Superpowers guide is amazing for processing what's coming up emotionally and staying connected to your highest timeline. But yeah, check out the website. Feel free to message me. And it's just a joy to come together and have these leading edge conversations and provide this support through Buddhist Biohacker. And it's just a joy to be able to do this. So thank you to everyone. And I love the questions in the comments. So thank you for sharing that. That makes it really engaging. So thank you.
It really does. And Kristian's does have just an incredible community, you guys. I learn new things every week on that community. So it's totally amazing. So it's a great support system. So do check out all our stuff, and we'll have it in the show notes too. And then for me, I provide Ascension support. So I have an Ascension support group. And really what we're doing right now, it's pretty strategically focused on getting you what you need to get through this time. So with the Ascension support, you get information like the monthly transmissions from the collective, but I have a divination class where I'm teaching you how to get your own information each and every month. That class is part of the support. We have yoga that's part of the support, meditation that's part of the support. We have a download that comes through that's part of the support, that's a meditation, and it's all about your activating your cellular structure. And then we also have Seeker Circle that's part of the support, where I'm giving you information about you as an individual. So, we do live readings in that group today. It's actually tonight at 7:00, and it's the first Thursday of every month. And I actually give a channel transmission. I channel for all the members of the group. So you get your own message, and we share it during that. We talk about the planet and different things that are going on. And it's just a private, safe, non-public space to be. So that's there as well. So that is there. And if you go to lisamgunshore.com, it just says Ascension support. It's right there. Ajata Kasha is my sacred container for the divine feminine. And that also has all the same Ascension support information, as well as the global meditations, which again, this one is this Saturday. And I'm trying to think of what else. And then I did launch my trance channeling class. So if you want to trance channel, that course starts in September. It's 8 weeks. It's based on Sanaya Roman and Dwayne Packer's opening to channel course. So work with them, and I have information from them to be able to teach you guys how to trans channel. So we learn how to access that, how to access your team, how to connect with them. And that's more important now than ever. So that course is actually up, and it starts September 10th, which is a huge day, I think, to start it. So we'll see how that rolls. So there's all that as well. So that's what I have to offer. So we'll get all of Kristian's information and all of my information in the show notes. You guys are awesome. Like, we have great session. Thank you. You just answered my prayer instantly in the now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Claire said, a beautiful synchronicity for Saturdays. I'm making a crow poppet for a client right now. So that is super amazing. I know, that's amazing. Really amazing. So thank you guys. And Kristian, gosh, I love you so much. And I've missed you because we've both been just so busy with everything. And man, time, I mean, can't believe what time it is right now.
I know, it's just flown. I love you too. I'm so happy we got to do this. Thank you so much. And I can't wait for next month.
Yeah.
Be a whole other level. We just keep showing up here the first Thursday of every month and having these conversations. So, so important, because these conversations, we activate each other, and we activate a higher realm of consciousness, higher insights. It's just amazing. So thank you, Lisa.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, who knows where we'll be next month. I mean, really, next month, I'm certain it will be a new world again. So here we go.
Definitely.
Good grief.
Love you guys.
Much love to everybody. Have a great day.